I'm Andrea Giles, and you're listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, episode number 182, Releasing the Leeches, Letting Go of What Was Never Yours. Hello, and welcome to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, where courageous women learn not only to heal from their spouse's betrayal, but to become the boldest, truest, most decisive, and confident versions of themselves ever. If you know there's more for you than the life you're currently living, but don't quite know how to get there, you are in the right place. Stick around to learn how to create a life that will knock your own socks off. Is it possible? It is, and I'm here to show you how. I'm your host, Andrea Giles. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Welcome to another episode. Hello. Today, we're talking about leeches. It's going to be fun. Stick around. Who knew there was so much to learn from leeches, but stick around and you'll learn, okay? Before I do, I want to share that I have been working on something that I'm so excited to send out into the world. It will be very, very soon, putting pieces together. It's an amazing masterclass that I have put together, all with the emphasis of making the decision to stay or go. I know so many of you struggle with it. It is a tough decision. And most of you have come face to face with that decision of really trying to decide. And I know that many of you are stuck in it, or that you think you've decided and then question it and go back and forth. And some of you, the decision was made for you, but you're still reeling from it. You would even benefit from this too. It is coming soon. It's a very, very low cost for this amazing course, and it's taught in a way that you've probably never heard before. One of the most favorite things I've ever done, created, put out in the world. Can't wait for you to have it. It's going to be soon. Keep an eye out. I'll announce it here. I will have it in the show notes. I'll have it anywhere where you can find me, and you'll be able to grab that. All right. Now, let's talk about leeches, shall we? Have you ever felt completely drained after being around certain people? Like no matter how much you give them, it's never enough. What I want to say is that people who leech off of you emotionally, mentally, spiritually, they're not just taking your energy, okay? They're not just taking your energy. They're actually feeding off of the stories you have carried that were never even yours to begin with, okay? There's going to be a lot to think about in this episode, so go with me with this leech analogy, okay? Now, why did this come to me? I was thinking about different things and different relationships that I've had, and how there are people that it's like no matter how much you give, it's just not quite ever enough. And that they try to contort and twist and make it be your problem. And when we can really see this and start doing something about it, we gain our freedom back. Why leeches? I have had leeches on me before. I grew up in Oregon, and there were times where I'd swim in like a river or a creek and get out and have a leech on me. And they're so nasty, like so gross. I'm sure many of you have experienced that too. And they can be hard to get off. They don't just come off easy. They like it. They're being fed, right? Not so great for the host though. Now, sometimes these same people that are leeching off of you are using you to feed their own unhealthy attachments, their own leeches, okay? Their very own leeches. They're using yours. They're using you to feed theirs. And today we're going to talk about recognizing the various leeches in our lives, understanding the false stories attached to them, and how to finally release them so we can get back to our whole healthy selves without this thing that is constantly draining our life force, okay? You'll get back energy, you'll get back clarity, you'll get back truth, what's actually true. All right, what are emotional leeches? A leech doesn't just take, okay? A leech does not just take. It's not like popping in like a mosquito to take a little snack and then go bother somebody else. It attaches. It attaches. An emotional leech is a person, a belief, or a dynamic that drains your energy while offering nothing in return, a total taker. It's someone who relies on your emotional labor to avoid doing their own work. It's a belief that keeps you stuck in cycles of guilt, overgiving, or self-betrayal. And how do these leeches attach to us? Often through childhood conditioning with things like you're responsible for other people's emotions. You should be nice. You should be kind. You shouldn't hurt anybody's feelings, as if somebody's hurt feelings are ours to fix. That's how we get attached in these unhealthy ways. Through trauma bonds, if I keep them happy, they won't abandon me. Through guilt-driven relationships, I owe them my time, my energy, and sacrifice. That's what I've been told. I've been told to be a really good spouse. I need to give everything I have to them. I need to give them all of my time, all of my energy, everything I've got. And that's what makes me good. That's how those leeches attach to us, okay? Guilt-driven. Some of the infidelity leeches that we take on, leeches around infidelity. Things like this. The betrayed partner believing if I was enough, they wouldn't have done this. This is a leech that's now attached to your body. And we often feed it and feed it and feed it with that false belief. The unfaithful partner believing I am forever broken because of what I did. That's also a leech. I am broken. And we often feed it with shame and spiraling into shame and spiraling into guilt and what a terrible person we are. We also can take on leeches around infidelity with external pressures that are telling you that you have to forgive or that you have to leave or that you have to stay, when none of those quite feel aligned or you don't quite feel ready for them yet, right? Those can be leeches because they're there to like suck the life out of you, trying to make you feel bad that you can't seem to get there just yet. I want you to close your eyes if you can, and I want you to picture leeches all over your body, kind of gross imagery, but just go with me, okay? Each one of these leeches represents a belief or an expectation that was placed on you by someone else. It's not yours. It was placed on you. You might not even realize how long they've been there. You're so used to it that it's just kind of what you do. You just get dressed and don't even notice it. You don't even remember it not being there. But now you're beginning to see them for what they are and recognizing, oh my gosh, this isn't even mine. Now, next part here. Every leech is a story that was never yours. Do you hear that? Every leech is a story that was never yours. Leeches feed on false narratives, but you get to decide which stories you carry forward. How do you identify the story behind each leech? Okay, when you are feeling drained, you can ask yourself, what belief is keeping me in this dynamic? What am I believing about this thing that makes me so tired? Like that I keep giving in this way or shutting my mouth because I feel like if I were honest, I will hurt this person and that I can't be mean, but I know that I'm actually hiding from what is true. What is keeping me here? Why am I doing this? What belief is keeping me in this dynamic? And starting to examine it. Next, trace it back. Okay? These leeches, they have like history about them. You can trace them back. Who taught me this? Who taught me this? Who had a leech of their own and slapped it onto my body, hoping that I would hold it? Who taught me this? And is it even mine to hold? Or is my leech feeding theirs? Because theirs is unhealed and now they're making me unhealed. Okay? Notice patterns. Do I feel responsible for others? Do I think I have to prove my worth? Do I have to hustle for people to be okay with me, or do I believe that I do? Here's some common examples of leeches that you might carry, okay? The martyr leech, it's got a name. It's my job to fix, save, or sacrifice for others. I must. The unworthiness leech, I have to prove my value to be loved. I have to prove it, or it's just not true. I'm not loved. The shame leech, I am defined by my past mistakes. I am the sum of my mistakes and nothing more. The obligation leech, I can't say no or I will disappoint people. How infidelity can expose the leeches we're carrying are that when we actually want to heal, it forces us to confront the roles that we've played in relationships. We cannot heal if we don't. We have to face it. It reveals where we've abandoned our own needs to keep the peace. And it asks us, who am I without these stories or without these leeches? Like, who am I? Underneath all of this, who even am I? And one by one, Examine the leeches on your body. Hold them in your hands. What words are written on them? Who gave you these beliefs? And as you name them, here's the thing. As you name them, they start to loosen their grip. They start to loosen their power. We see them now. We see them, and then when we name them, we're not quite so afraid of them. And then they eventually fall off. Part 3 here. Why do people leech off of us to feed their own needs? Sometimes the people who drain us, they're not just taking, they're feeding something unhealthy in themselves, and they probably don't even realize it, okay? It's what I call the cycle of borrowed leeches. Some people don't just drain us, they use us to keep their own wounds alive, okay? They're using us to keep their own wounds alive. It's like a transference of this leech energy. Their fear, insecurity, or unhealed pain demands nourishment. And if we don't provide it, they blame us for their discomfort because we're not feeding their leeches, right? We're not feeding it. And then they blame us that we're not meeting their needs when it's not real needs, okay? It's unhealed needs. Here are some examples of leeches that drive people to leech off of others. Here's one, the unworthiness leech. I don't feel good enough, so I need my partner to constantly reassure me. Okay, now a little caveat here. At the beginning of when you first find out about infidelity, it's so ground shattering for most people that they probably do need reassurance till they get their feet back on the ground a little bit. But if this keeps going on, and for many people, it may have been there before in some regard, and sometimes their partners were resistant to it because they felt like they could never quite give enough. Then infidelity occurs, we need more. And it can be quite a leech to other people because it's like if I give and give and give, it's never quite enough. They always want more. And so it's something to check into and to go, what is it that I'm thinking that I need? And is it actually something that I can give myself by healing this part of me that thinks that I need it? Another leech is the abandonment leech. This is a big one. I fear being alone, so I guilt trip my spouse into staying emotionally enmeshed with me. This one's such a sad one because I don't want any of you being with anyone that is not absolutely delighted to be with you. You don't actually want that. This is your fear speaking. This is you being afraid of being alone. Abandonment is terrifying. The thought of being abandoned is terrifying. And in reality, what we want is to be with somebody that we know is choosing us with our eyes wide open. And so we're acting this out, this leech, when it's not even what we want, right? And it's not going to get anyone anywhere. Another is the control leech. I don't feel safe unless I control how others see me. So I manipulate situations to get the validation I need. That's a big one. People that really need to manage their image control, really doing everything they can to have people view them in a certain light. And those other people are just falling right into it. They're totally feeding that person's leeches. And if that person is saying that they're doing it wrong somehow and that they need more from them, they can be taking on more leeches themselves, right? In response to it. Now, another way that this shows up is a partner who needs constant validation may demand that their spouse fills that void. And when they can't, they blame them for their pain. Okay, this is a dynamic that's pretty common. You didn't give that to me. You're not meeting my needs. You're not filling this void. And I'm going to blame you. And the harm in this is that we do need things from each other. We do want things from each other. But when it's coming from this place, there literally is never enough that that person can do. It will be like insatiable. They will always need more. And the other person will feel drained. Part of them will know that this is not healthy. There's something wrong with this. Either I'm wrong because I can't give them what they want, or there's something wrong with this dynamic that I can't quite put a finger on. That's what it is. Okay? If you're feeling like there's something off, there probably is. Sometimes the unfaithful partner might have been feeding their own deep-seated insecurity leech through external validation, such as having affairs, rather than addressing the source of that insecurity. They think that maybe if I go over here, then I'll feel better, then I'll feel more loved and more whole and desired. When really what it does in the end for most people is creates even more problems and more insecurity and more issues to heal from. The betrayed partner might take on the role of the healer or the fixer, overcompensating to try to make their partner feel whole, even when it's not their job. Isn't that interesting? The betrayed partner might take on the role of the healer or fixer, okay? They're so afraid. Often this comes from being so afraid of what happens when they stop doing that, when they give it up, when they stop. And then they're afraid that they're going to get rejected. It's very fear-based, okay? I want you to picture someone in your life who has been pulling from you, not because they want to hurt you, okay? They're often doing it without even knowing, just like you don't see them until you see them. They don't either, okay? They're not trying to hurt you, but they are trying to feed their own emptiness. They keep giving and giving to these stories, and it's bleeding them dry. And so they're looking to you going, help me. Can you fix it? And taking and taking and taking in a depleted, unhealthy way. I invite you to look beyond their actions and see what is actually the leech that they're carrying. What false story is driving their need? And I want you to ask yourself, are you willing to continue being their food source? Or is it time to step away and let them find their own healing? Do you want to continue feeding it, or do you want to step away? How do we do that? All right, this next section is about releasing the leeches. We are sending them back where they came from, okay? We aren't just removing them. We're going, where did this even come from? What's the source of this? And we're sending it back to their rightful owner. How we can consciously release each false story. We're looking at each one, we're examining it, we're going, this isn't actually mine. This never was mine. I actually didn't even feel that way about myself until this person said that I should. Interesting. This was given to me. And then you reassign it. This expectation belonged to my mother or my ex or society. It's not mine. It's actually not mine. I don't think that. I learned it, but I don't actually think it. Then you're releasing it. You're visualizing handing it back, setting it down, or you're letting it dissolve. Okay, you're letting go of it. You're handing it back. Now, the power of stepping back is, instead of feeding someone else's leech, you're naming it, saying, I see that you feel unworthy, but I can't be the one to prove your worth to you. No one can do that for you. And I'm not going to continue depleting myself for you. Holding boundaries, I care about you, but I won't sacrifice myself to make you feel okay. You need to learn how to do that for yourself. It'll be beneficial for both of us, right? Two healthy people that aren't being depleted constantly. Trust that releasing someone else's leech is an invitation for them to finally heal. This is an act of love. It's an act of kindness. I want you to picture yourself stepping back from someone whose needs have weighed on you. You are handing their leech back to them, not as a punishment, but as a freedom. And they might not like it. They may resist, but deep down, you know for yourself that letting go is not abandonment. It's honoring what was never yours. It was never even yours to carry. You're not abandoning them. You're saying, I am not willing to do this anymore. Now, I want you to imagine walking through life without the weight of old stories, without the energy drains of unhealthy attachments. This is what it means to reclaim yourself, to restore, to come back to who you always were. It's always been there. There's just been all these things sucking the life out of you. You're sending them back and getting to know how you are when you are actually whole and not constantly being drained. The only leeches that can stay there are the ones that you willingly choose, but I have the feeling that once you start removing them, you're not going to want any more. Who wants to carry a leech around? Not I. All right. This wraps it up for today. I hope that it resonated with you. I hope that you're able to sense where you are carrying things that aren't yours, where you can sense that others around you have their own that you have been inadvertently feeding into, and that it is a loving kindness to give it back. And ultimately, what you're going to find out is if they're willing to do the work to remove their own. That is only for them to do. No one can do it for them. You put them in a much stronger position to do that when you stop feeding theirs. When you stop. Okay, they might resist, they might kick, those leeches might suffer and feel freaked out and scared and all of that. And then maybe then They'll go, okay, if this person's not willing to play this way, maybe it's time that I figure this out. That's what we hope for, right? That's what we hope for everyone. But in the meantime, take care of attending to yourself. Look at where you are taking on stories that are not yours. Where did this come from? Find the source, give it back. Okay, give it back. I hope this was useful to you. I think personally that this episode can be helpful for anybody, not just people navigating infidelity. And if there are people in your life that you feel comfortable sharing this with, please do. Please share this episode with people. Let them know what they're capable of and where they might be falling prey to other people's leeches, and that they can grow strong by removing them. All right, thank you. I will see you next time. All right, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast. If you would like to be kept in the know about upcoming free classes, new podcast episodes, and other ways of working with me, go subscribe to my weekly email. You can subscribe at AndreaGiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. Again, it's AndreaGiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. I will see you next time.